When she got pregnant, everyone turned their backs, except her aunt, the only one who offered help. But behind her kindness was a secret plan. Her name was Chioma, just 19 years old, fresh out of secondary school, and full of life until two pink lines changed everything. The day she found out she was pregnant, her world collapsed. Her boyfriend denied the child. Her mother wept and called her a disgrace. Her father said she had brought shame into his house. Friends who once called her sister started whispering behind her back. One by one, they all turned away. Everyone, except Auntie Felicia. Felicia was her mother's older sister, a rich woman who lived in the city, classy, sharp-tongued, and respected. She arrived at their family house with perfume that filled the whole sitting room and clothes that screamed Lagos money. When she saw Chioma, she didn't scold or slap her. She simply said, "You made a mistake. It happens. Come to Lagos. Let me take care of you." It sounded like salvation. No shame, no judgment, just a warm room, food and a chance to breathe. Chioma agreed. She packed her things that same week and followed her aunt to Lagos. The city felt like freedom. Auntie Felicia's house was big. The guest room had an air conditioner. She ate proper food, no more Gary and insult. For the first time in months, Chioma felt safe. Felicia booked her antenatal appointments at a private hospital. She bought baby clothes. She made pap in the morning. She even rubbed Chioma's belly and said, "You'll have a girl. I can feel it." But something didn't sit right. Felicia never allowed Chioma go outside alone. She always collected her phone to rest her eyes. And each time Chioma mentioned calling home, Felicia would say, "Why do you want to talk to people who threw you away? Focus on your baby." Chioma didn't question it. She was grateful and afraid. The baby came in the middle of the night earlier than expected. Chioma went into labor screaming. Felicia rushed her to the hospital. She remembered everything until the injection. Then, everything went black. When she woke up, her stomach was flat, her arms empty, her world silent. The nurse came in with sorrow on her face. "We're sorry, the baby didn't make it," Chioma screamed. She demanded to see the body. They said the hospital had already handled the burial because the baby was stillborn. She signed documents she didn't read. Felicia held her, told her to stay strong, and promised to help her move on. 2 weeks later, Chioma was back in her parents' house in the village, broken, numb, a mother with no child. 4 years later, it was just another Sunday evening. Chioma was scrolling through her cousin's Instagram story when she froze. A birthday cake, a little girl, 4 candles, and standing beside the girl was Auntie Felicia, holding her hand, kissing her forehead. The child looked exactly like her, same nose, same dimples, same birthmark on her shoulder. Chioma's phone slipped from her hands. "That's my child. That's my daughter." She stared at the photo for the 100th time. The child's eyes were hers. The same birthmark, there was no denying it. Chioma didn't need proof to know the truth, but she needed evidence. She needed her child back. Chioma packed her bag without telling anyone. She lied to her mother, said she was going for a job interview in Enugu. But she boarded a night bus to Lagos. She didn't call her aunt, didn't message her cousin. Just showed up at a friend's place in Ikorodu and said, "I need a place to stay for a few days, and I need a favor." Her plan was simple: watch Felicia. She had screenshots of the Instagram story. The girl was 4 years old now. Her birthday was just last week. She needed to see her in real life, hear her voice, get close enough to be sure. Her friend Nikki helped her rent a small car. Together they parked 2 streets away from Felicia's estate gate. For 3 days, Chioma watched. On the 3rd morning she saw her. The child, running out to the car with a lunchbox. The school bus driver opened the door. Felicia was behind her, tying the girl's shoes and saying, "Tell Mummy if they beat you in school again, okay?" The girl turned and smiled. "Okay, Mummy." Chiyoma's hands trembled on the steering wheel. She whispered, "Her name, what's her name?" That evening, she followed the school bus. The school was in Lekki, a private school. Fancy. Expensive. Chiyoma waited by the gate like a shadow. At 2:30 p.m. the bell rang. Children poured out. Then she saw her again. But this time, the girl walked up to her. "Hello. Are you lost, Auntie? You're looking at me." Chiyoma's throat dried. She smiled slowly. "You look like someone I used to know. What's your name?" The girl grinned. "My name is Amara Felicia. Mummy says I'm special." Chiyoma almost collapsed. That night she didn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling in Nkechi's room and wept silently. The name, the smile, the voice, it was her child. She was sure of it now, so she made her next move. She returned to the hospital where she had given birth. The building had changed, but the receptionist was kind. She asked if she could speak to any nurse from around 4 years ago, said she was writing a memoir. After waiting an hour, a nurse appeared. Her face was older, but Chiyoma remembered her. "You were there when I gave birth," Koyuma said quietly. The woman froze, looked left, then whispered, "You were the girl with the aunt that wore red heels." Chiyoma nodded. "I need the truth. Was my baby really dead?" The nurse looked around again, then led her to the back of the hospital. "You didn't hear it from me?" she said, her voice shaking. "But no, your baby didn't die. She was alive. Healthy. I held her." She cried so loud. "But your aunt, she came into the room before the doctor came back. She gave me an envelope and said, 'The girl doesn't need to know. Her baby's better off with me.'" Chiyoma's knees buckled. "She paid us to fake the death. Buried an empty box in your name. I'm sorry, I was a young nurse. I needed the money." Chiyoma broke down. Years of pain spilled out in heavy sobs. After the nurse's confession, she knew she had two choices: either walk away and pretend her baby never existed, or fight like hell to bring her home. She chose the second. That night, Felicia called. "Chiyoma, I know you're in Lagos. I know you've been sniffing around." Chiyoma didn't speak. "Whatever you think you know, leave it. Don't let your foolish emotions make you do something stupid." Then Felicia added something that chilled her to the bone. "Amara is my daughter now. And if you try to take her, you'll lose her again." The next morning, Chiyoma sat quietly in a legal aid office. She had no money, no connections, just her story and pain. She met Barrister Fowler, a young, sharp human rights lawyer. At first he looked tired, overworked, distracted, but the moment Chiyoma handed him the photo of Amara and whispered, "That's my baby," they said she died. He sat up. Then he listened to everything. He didn't interrupt, didn't blink. When she was done, he said just 3 words: "Let's fight this." Before they could file anything, Felicia struck first. Police showed up at Nkechi's apartment 2 days later with court papers. Felicia had filed a restraining order, claiming Chiyoma was harassing her family, stalking a minor, and disturbing her mental peace. The irony was cruel. The woman who stole her baby was now painting Chiyoma as dangerous. Barrister Fowler wasn't shocked. She's rich, connected, but not invincible. At Heritage Primary School, Amara's class teacher, Miss Opiemi, had started noticing strange behavior. The little girl had begun drawing pictures of 2 women, one with curly hair and a blue dress, the other with a headscarf, always crying. One day during nap time, Amara whispered in her sleep, "I want my real mummy, the one who sings Chinik Mo to me." Miss Opiemi froze. She remembered that the girl's current mother Felicia never spoke Igbo. She always insisted the girl speak clean English only. Something wasn't right. Later that week, Miss Opeyemi saw Chioma near the school gate again. She didn't call security. She walked over slowly and asked, "Who are you really?" Chioma, tired of hiding, replied, "I'm the mother of the girl inside, and I can prove it." With Miss Opeyemi's help, Chioma found a way to get a strand of Amara's hair tucked inside her school cap. Barrister Fowler helped her send it for DNA testing. While they waited, Chioma went quiet online, but not for long. Back at Felicia's house, her new maid Uduak had been listening. She had overheard Felicia one evening on a phone call with her sister. Laughing, "She really thinks she can take that girl from me. I made her believe the baby died. I did her a favor. Chioma was nothing. Amara is mine now." Uduak, disgusted, secretly recorded it. She didn't do it for Chioma. She did it for the child, because she had seen how Amara cried herself to sleep some nights, whispering, "Why does Mummy lock me in when I cry?" That night, Uduak created an anonymous email account. She sent the voice recording to Chioma's lawyer. The lawyer advised caution. But Chioma had waited 4 years. She was done hiding. She logged into TikTok, used her backup Instagram page, and posted the video. She captioned it, "They told me my baby died. I just found her. Please help me get her back." She included a blurred photo of Amara, a clip of the voice recording, a voiceover of her story with emotional music. The post exploded. Within hours, bloggers picked it up. By midnight, it had 2.4 million views. Celebrities reposted it. Women cried in the comments. Advocacy groups started tagging legal organizations. Hashtags like "Bring Amara Home" and "Justice for Chioma" started trending. The pressure was too much. By morning, Felicia's lawyers were flooded with calls. People protested outside her estate gate. And the DNA result finally came in. 99.998% maternal match. Barrister Fowler smiled for the first time in days and said, "Now we take her to court." The courtroom was cold. Chioma sat in the second row, her hands shaking slightly as the bailiff called out the case, Chioma Okafor Vaz, Felicia Okafor. Across from her, Felicia walked in wearing a cream-colored suit and dark glasses. Like nothing was wrong. She even smiled at the cameras. And behind her 4 senior lawyers, Chioma had only one. But she had the truth. The judge looked at the file slowly, then removed his glasses. Due to the complexity of this matter, and in consideration of child welfare, this court will adjourn for 3 weeks pending further review. 3 weeks. Barrister Fowler stood up immediately. "My lord, with all due respect, we have a verified DNA test, a public confession, a sworn affidavit from the nurse who helped falsify the death certificate. This is not complex. This is criminal." But the judge only smiled faintly. "Let the law take its time, counselor." Chioma's heart sank. As they walked out of the courtroom, Fowler whispered she paid him. "I'm almost certain." 2 nights later, around 11:42 p.m., Chioma stepped out to buy airtime at the junction. She was staying at her friend Ada's apartment now. As she crossed the small footpath back, a black SUV pulled up. Before she could move, 2 masked men stepped out. One grabbed her arm, the other leaned in and said, "Drop the case. Take the money. Or next time you won't be this lucky." Then they vanished into the night. She stood frozen, breath shaking. By the time she stumbled back into the apartment, her clothes were dusty and her palms were bleeding from where she had fallen. Ada wanted to call the police, but Chioma shook her head. "No. This means we're close." They're scared. By the weekend, Chioma's viral post was still trending. A new hashtag had emerged, Uhonza Mara bloggers. activists, and even international NGOs started showing interest. Then came the twist. On Monday morning, Channels TV reported prominent businesswoman Felicia Okafor has been hospitalized following a sudden cardiac event. Sources say she collapsed at home and was rushed to Graceview Medical Center. Family confirms she is battling a life-threatening condition. The internet went quiet. Sympathy started pouring in. Comments shifted. Maybe Chioma should forgive her. But she's dying now. She raised the child for 4 years. Even Chioma's mother called her crying. Just let it go, my daughter. God will give you another one. Chioma almost gave up, until Fola called the hospital secretly. Graceview Medical has no Felicia Okafor on their admissions list. It was all staged. Felicia had hired 2 nurses, booked a private Airbnb, posted an old photo of herself in a hospital gown. It was a PR stunt to twist public sympathy. But one of the nurses recognized Chioma from the news. She reached out anonymously and sent photos of Felicia eating jollof rice with chicken while fighting for her life. Barrister Fowler smiled coldly. It's time we show everyone who she really is. This time, Chioma posted first. She told me my baby died. Now, she wants to bury the truth again with lies and fake sickness. But I will not stop until my daughter knows the truth. I am her mother. Not by custody, but by birth. She added the date of the next court hearing. This time, more than 200 people promised to show up in solidarity. A message came in at 2:34 a.m. Chioma was sleeping on the couch in Ada's apartment when her phone buzzed. My name is Mama Okezi. I was a cleaner at Bethlehem Hospital in 2021. I saw what your aunt did that night. Chioma sat up, her heart hammering. Ada read over her shoulder. Meet me tomorrow at St. Jude's Chapel, 10 a.m. I want to confess before my conscience finishes me. The next morning, under the quiet dome of the chapel, Mama Okezi, a frail woman in her 60s, walked in holding a wrapped rosary and trembling hands. She sat across from Chioma. Your baby cried that night. Loud. The nurse wrapped her in a pink shawl. You were unconscious from blood loss. Then your aunt walked in, gave the nurse an envelope, and took the baby. I asked her what she was doing. She said you died, and the child was better off with her. Chioma could barely breathe. Mama handed her an old, faded hospital ID badge and a copy of her handwritten report, one she tried to submit years ago, but was silenced by the hospital director. I told myself I would forget. But when I saw your face on the news, I knew I had to speak. Later that week, Chioma was in court again when someone tapped her shoulder. She turned. Her mother was standing behind her. Mama Chioma had aged. Her wrapper was neat, but her face was weary. Her eyes welled up. I saw everything online. I should have believed you from the beginning. I thought maybe you made mistakes. But I see now you were right all along. Chioma broke down. They held each other. Right there, outside the courtroom. Years of silence melted into one painful embrace. We will fight this together, my child, her mother whispered. You are not alone anymore. The courtroom was packed. Barrister Fowler stood calmly and said, Before we begin, my lord, the defense would like to submit new evidence. A sealed investigation report showing Your Honor presided over 2 illegal adoption cases linked to Madam Felicia Okafor in 2017 and 2019, and that you received payments from her shell company 4 months ago. Gasps echoed. The judge went pale. This is contempt, he began. But 2 court officers walked forward. One whispered in his ear. The judge quietly stood up and recused himself from the case. A new judge was assigned immediately. The new judge was firm and swift. He ordered a fresh DNA test to be carried out within 24 hours under full media supervision. Felicia tried to refuse. She's my child. I raised her. DNA doesn't mean motherhood. But the court overruled her. The test results came back 99.99% match. Amara was Chioma's daughter. On a rainy Monday morning, the judgment was delivered. This court recognizes Miss Chioma Okafor as the biological and legal mother of the child, Amara Okafor. The defendant, Felicia Okafor, is hereby charged with abduction, child trafficking, and falsifying medical records. Felicia screamed in court. I loved her. I gave her a better life. You think she'll love you after this? But no one answered her. Because Amara, now 5 years old, was sitting quietly beside Chioma's mother in the second row, hugging a teddy bear. That evening, back at their small compound, Chioma sat on the floor, looking at Amara as the child slowly walked toward her. Are you my real mummy? She whispered. Chioma's throat tightened. Yes, my love, I am. I've been looking for you since the day you were born. Amara hugged her. Not fully understanding, but somehow sensing that this woman had carried her in more than just her womb. She had carried her in her heart, through years of pain. A month later, Chioma was offered a book deal. An NGO invited her to speak at a human rights conference. She started counseling other young mothers. Felicia was sentenced to 20 years in prison, with no parole. The nurse who helped her was struck off the register, and Mama Okezi, the cleaner, was honored by the Women's Council for her courage. As for Chioma, she no longer cried when people said, "You're so strong," because she knew she was. And Amara, she now called her Mama Chioma every morning with a smile. And so, Chioma finally got her daughter, not just by law, but by love. The road was long, the nights were heavy, and the pain was almost unbearable, but she never gave up. In the end, truth spoke, justice answered, and a mother's heart was made whole again. Because sometimes, all a child really needs is to find their way back home to the arms that never stopped reaching. Family should protect, not betray. Just because someone is your relative doesn't mean they have your best interest at heart. Being kind doesn't mean being blind. Always pay attention to people's true intentions, even when they seem to help. Never be ashamed of your struggle. Your story might be the reason someone else survives. Justice delayed is not always justice denied. Keep speaking. Keep fighting. Truth may take time, but it never dies. Every child deserves to grow up in the arms of love, not lies. Let's protect the innocent at all costs. The system may fail, but faith and persistence can rewrite the ending. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this deeply emotional story. If it touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We are Delia Story Time on all platforms, and we promise to keep bringing you real, powerful stories filled with moral lessons, truth, and purpose. Turn on your notification bell so you never miss an update. We've got more stories coming your way, and we can't wait to share them with you. See you soon. Bye for now.